G'day, have I got a story for you? Check the disclaimer. In chronological order, episode 2 takes place just before this episode. Season 1, episode 7 said, "We are standing in line. Have we been here before? We are third in line, and as I wonder what will happen when we get to the end, an overwhelming feeling of dread washes over me. In this moment, I know that I have been here many times before, perhaps hundreds of times, although I do not seem to remember any details about those times. Oh, yes, I do. The boy. There is a boy. I'm sure there is a boy. Oh, my head hurts. I have to remember. I look to my left, not moving anything except my eyes. I see small cages in the distance, and I'm sure I've seen them before. This place is so big. I squint, trying to see what is in those cages, wishing I could remember. Was there a boy in a cage? Why would a boy be in a cage? Suddenly I hear a deep voice in my mind. He sounds distraught.
He has gone. They took him. You're too late.
I know that I am the only one who can hear this voice. How do I know that? And what am I too late for? That is an odd thing to say to me, because I know that I have always done things at the exact right times. Never too early, never too late. So why is this deep voice telling me that I am too late? Too late for what? In my mind, he begins to show me what happened the previous time I was in this line, connected with a boy. Oh, the boy in the cage. I remember him. I promised I would remember, and I have. The boy needs my help, and I will help him wherever he is. He does not seem to be here. Last time, Fenella took me away. She was standing next to me in line, as she is now. I remember the floating things and the men wearing white lab coats. I remember the boy urged me to think of the surface life, to keep myself safe. I wonder where he is. I am sure I know. If I could just remember. The deep voice asks if he can scan me. I do not know what that is at first, but I know what I call scanning a place or building, but not a person. He shows me in my mind, and I tell him that it is fine. I hold myself rigid at his request and realize that my body hurts almost all over. Why did I not notice this before? I suppose that is understandable, since my body hurts most of the time. How do I know that? Suddenly, I feel him in my mind, learning about me, dragging out information regarding, well, everything. As he scans, I suddenly remember more and more, and my head does not hurt. I clearly remember far more about the surface. The woman, Lola, Sleepy Man, and my baby. I remember Mustache Man. I remember the Mangler. I remember Dullaughs, Pharamond, Fenella, Lola, Liz. I remember Ambrielle. What a beautiful name. I remember pain, tests, examinations. I remember clients, people hurting me, lots of people. I remember gatherings, bonfires. I remember Kay and Kaja and Kaya, Ophelia, Ryan, Nerida, Karina, Syria, Eula, Ayala, Abella, Luca, Saria. Oh, and so many others. All these names. I remember where we usually end up when we get to the end of this line, with the mangler. Such vile thoughts. I remember being taken to many different places by many different sorts of people. I remember Jason, Olita, Pup, Michael, Leticia, Bobby, Kitty. I am not supposed to remember any of this, but I do. I remember all. I continue to remember so many things, years of my memories. Oh, most of them horrific. I would prefer not to see any more. Oh, now I am in his mind. How did that happen? I am also learning about him as well. He suddenly stops, so I do too, although I'm not sure how. Where has he gone? I realise that I am taking a step forward. The pain is worse when I move. Why did I not notice the pain as I advanced in the line? I have now reached the end of the line. Fenella, the woman next to me, is giving instructions to the man at the front. He is used to being the one giving instructions, not receiving them, especially not from a lowly handler. He is not intending to cooperate at all until she says the mangler's name. The man suddenly alters his posture and stands up straight. He looks concerned and complies with her request. As she roughly grabs my arm, I wish she wouldn't do that. I call out in my thoughts to Deep Voice Man. I hear him say in my mind,
I am okay. We can talk another time when you are here.
I ask, what happened to you? Did I hurt you somehow? I am so sorry. I did not mean to. Fenella holds my arm so tight that it hurts as we step through. I hear him say,
Scanning usually hurts, but it didn't hurt you. Why?
Oh, so why did he not tell me that it would hurt? Grown-up people. Why do they want to hurt me? Actually, it didn't hurt at all, but it seemed like it hurt him. I turn to see what Fenella and I stepped out of, but all that is behind us is a wall with an ugly painting hanging on it. The room we stepped into looks like a surface room, painted flat walls and ceiling, and wooden boards on the floor. However, there are no windows. Are we underground? Yes, I know we are. The woman at the desk knocks on the door that is ajar at the back wall, and I hear the mangler's voice ask,
Is she here?
The desk woman answers,
Yes, sir, she is here.
The mangler comes out, tells Fenella to remove my clothes and wait there, then tells me to follow him. I am cold. Again. I can feel the mangler's excitement. I can also see that he is wondering if I need the medical machine after seeing all the bruises. Is that the same as the mending machine? Oh, yes, it is. They call it the medical machine here, but also refer to it as the MM. Without turning to look, I know that two big men are following me. Their minds seem unusual. I am in pain, so instead of trying to hide it, I walk slowly and carefully and groan quietly a couple of times. The mangler has decided to put me in the MM. He stops at the infirmary and introduces me, saying,
"This is the girl, the treasure I found."
This is met with a quick intake of breath and raised eyebrows on all three scientists. The mangler tells them to let him know the second that I am healed, and to make sure they do not overlook any injuries. Oh, this is odd. Does he actually care? No. He wants a clean slate. I look to see the two big men standing outside the room, one each side of the doorway. There is that word again, in all six of the men's minds. The three scientists, the two big men, and the mangler, although no one is saying it. Wow, that word seems to make people so delighted and excited, but also fearful. Fearful of me? One of the scientists wants to give me a needle to make me sleep, so I do not find out something. He is scared that I will find out and tell his secret. He is the one putting me into the MM. This man's secret is not so bad. I tell him in his thoughts that I will not tell anyone. He looks concerned and whispers,
Was that you?
I turn to look directly at him and quietly say, Yes. Then I say in his thoughts, You have nothing to fear from me. He puts the needle back in his pocket, realizing that it is too late to give it to me because I already know. He looks to check if the other two scientists are watching. They are not. They are busy with the settings on the MM. He whispers to me,
If you tell, we will all be killed.
I already know that from his mind. I assure him in his thoughts that no one will find out from me, even though he quietly whispers the words.
Thank you.
I can see that he does not trust me. This man has a family that he thinks no one else at the facility knows about, and he wants to keep it that way. The woman he lives with is not his maid. She is his wife, and her two children are also his. He believes that his employers prefer scientists who work here to have no family. Suddenly I wonder if this is some sort of a test. So I go deeper into his mind to find out. No, he really does have a family. He wants to leave this job at this facility, but is not permitted to. The other two scientists are full of ambition and want to go on to do bigger and better things. These better things in their minds seem far worse to me. They do not want to spend most of their time waiting in the infirmary to fix people. They want to be the ones causing the injuries. Why? This man, who is so worried his secret will be exposed, seems to like healing people in the infirmary. He thinks of himself as a doctor, not a scientist, and does not want to be made to injure people with, in his opinion, useless experiments. I notice that at the top of his mind is the name Ivan. I can see that he is trying to concentrate on simple things, so I will not discover anything more. I suppose he does not realize that I can easily see more, whether he does that or not. In his thoughts, I ask him if Ivan is his name, and he looks at me and nods slightly. I decide to think of him as Dr. Ivan. I check the rooms nearby with my mind. I can see that my arrival has created some excitement here, although many of them think that it is just a rumour. Most people seem to want to use me in tests, if I really exist, but others want to kill me in case I find out about their secrets. I decide to find out some of these things they are trying to hide. There are so many awful things. I am going to find a way to help those boys that one of the scientists has imprisoned at their surface house. He thinks that no one will ever know, and he is going to stay away from me just in case. Distance does not seem to make a difference. In this facility, I sense them all on this level. I am aware there are many other levels. This facility goes very deep. I show Dr. Ivan the man's face in his thoughts, then show him the boys' faces. Dr. Ivan looks surprised and looks directly at me. He recognizes two of the boys. Oh, I see. They were considered runaways from here. I ask Dr. Ivan questions in his mind, but I can see that he has no desire to respond, like most people. I watch his thoughts, but it seems like he does not want to be involved at all. I spend the rest of the time in the MM, listening to people's thoughts. This facility is a long way underground. The top level where I am is far deeper than the other one, but this one seems to belong to the Mangler, and it seems to be almost directly under the surface house where I so often have to go. I am being lifted to the floor from the MM by Dr. Ivan, and he hands me a towel. As I begin to dry myself, the Mangler walks in, and the two big men enter with him. Their faces are unusual. Their hands, too. And they are clothed in black suits with no shirts underneath. Most people here are dressed in white lab coats over their clothes. The Mangler asks me how I feel. I am surprised. I think this is the first time anyone has ever asked me that question. I ask, "Are you asking me how I feel?"
Yes!
He says impatiently.
How do you feel?
Well, I say, thinking that this is a really odd question. I feel lots of things with my fingers. I look down at my bare feet and continue. But I feel the floor with my feet. I feel this towel with my skin. I feel water and pain in my lungs when those client people hurt me. I feel food with my mouth. I can see that this is obviously not what the Mangler meant, but it is what he asked. He seems mildly amused, but does not say anything, so I just keep talking. I feel pain all over the outside and inside of me, depending on where people hurt me, but I do not feel any right now. I feel my lips with my fingers when my mouth says things by itself, without me saying them. I feel thoughts with my mind. I am interrupted by the Mangler telling me to stop. I can see that the three scientists were also amused by my answers, but the two big men think very differently to other people. The Mangler lifts me up to sit on the edge of the hospital bed and bends down slightly to look into my eyes and says,
You feel thoughts with your mind. That is what you said. Whose thoughts do you feel?
I answer, mostly people's thoughts.
What am I thinking?
He asks. Well, I answer, on the very tip of your mind, you are thinking about a big bowl of ice cream. He interrupts me by saying,
Okay.
Under that, I continue, you are thinking that you had better treat me well so you can get me to bond with you after you do a mind purge. Under that, you are thinking about killing the 3 scientists in this room and reprogramming the 2 big men so you are the only one who knows. Under that,
That's enough!
he quickly says, irritated. I ask, what is bond and what is mind purge? He stands me on the floor and tells me to follow him, while calling out to the 3 scientists that he thinks that sort of thing about everyone. As he walks out the door, he calls out that they have nothing to worry about. I walk towards the door but quickly turn to the scientists before I exit and say quietly, He lied. You all need to leave immediately. Then I look at Dr. Ivan and I say in all 3 men's thoughts, Get your families and go far from here, where they will not find you. Quickly, before he sends 2 big men named Ebby and Brutus to detain you. I know that all 3 men recognize those 2 names. I walk out the door and continue in their thoughts. Do it now. Make an excuse and leave right now, while you still can. He is planning to kill you. I can see it in his mind. Go past and get your families and leave. Don't stop to pack. Go right now, hurry. The 2 big men do not seem to understand why I hesitated before leaving, but they are glad I am following the Mangala now. They both have such simple thoughts, a bit like the dog on the surface. They have no intention of telling the Mangala that I did not obey him immediately. They consider it nothing to do with them. I thank them both in their thoughts, but they do not hear me. What has happened to their minds? I walk quickly to catch up to the Mangala, and the 2 big men walk behind me. We all walk into a room with a contraption similar to the one at the other facility. As I go to sit in the chair, the 2 big men make sure that no one else is here, then stand outside the doorway, one on each side. I check in the Mangala's mind. Oh, so that is what bond means. He wants me to bond with him, some sort of father bond. Oh, and possibly these 2 big men. That is never going to happen. It is not easy trying to ignore so many horrific memories and deplorable ideas in his mind. Now, what is this mind purge? Oh, he is thinking of so many tests that he wants to put me through. Oh, some of them seem so awful. I cannot do that. Well, I mean, I think I am capable of doing all these things. I just would not do a lot of them. I would not do awful things. No, I will not do those vile things. I refuse. I will not hurt people. I choose what I think about. I think about helping people. That is what I do. If you do not like that, that is okay with me, but it will not change anything. I will still help people. It is my choice, not yours. Oh, no. I will not kill anyone. No matter how evil you try to make me believe those people are, I will not kill them. My body just shuddered. I should be more careful to make sure that does not happen. I am glad that he did not notice. Now he is thinking of that word again. And also the name Zelophehad. That is a long name, which apparently means dark one, the shade of fear, shadow, and tingling of fear. Oh, what an unfortunate name. I wonder what my name means. I hope it does not mean anything like that. Oh, Zelophehad was the last person the Mangler heard about who was called that word. He did so many awful, deplorable things. And the Mangler thinks that he ended up being killed because no one could control him. I would prefer not to do anything he did. Truly detestable, murderous, abhorrent, torturous, repugnant behavior. I will not be like that. I will not do those things. I prefer not to do those things. I will not have anything to do with those things. Those things. Those things. They are just not what I would choose to do. How can you think that I will refuse to save lives if I can? I will not behave that way, regardless of what you think. I know that every life is precious. Every life is worth the effort. The Mangler is now thinking that while Zelophehad was his name, they shortened it and made sure he knew that his shortened name meant the same as his longer name. So every time they said it, it meant that they were calling him the Dark One, the shade of fear, shadow, and the tingling of fear. I do not like this at all. How does the Mangler have such detailed information of something that took place 100 years ago? Oh, I see. He is thinking of giving me a nickname. Oh, good. I like nicknames. Oh, he wants to give me Zelophehad's shortened name as a nickname and make sure he tells me what it means. I cannot be a dark one, a shade of fear, shadow, or tingling fear. I mean, look at me. I look the opposite to that. I hope. I do not want to look scary. I do not want to be scary. I cannot. I will not do what Zelophehad did. I will not be that name. Oh, no wonder they fear me. I would prefer not to have anything to do with that name. I will not behave like that. I will not be doing what he wants. I think about the shortened name and its meaning. That nickname is just not me. They called him Zed. Thank you so much for joining me with a cuppa. I appreciate your company.